Good evening. It is time for today's Tax Talk. I'm your host. I'm Attorney Stephen Leahy. It is Wednesday, December 15th, the year of our Lord, 2021. Let's stop and think about it. I missed the last couple of days. Had some other events happening. But I wanted to talk to, the last time we were here, we talked about Charlie Sheen and his tax trouble. Today, what comes out is Chris Tucker is also having some tax problems. And you're going to see a lot of this in the next couple of weeks, months ahead, that the IRS is putting prominent people on trial or bringing up their cases. You'll also see some other cases, some egregious cases where they're putting people in jail. And the reason why they do this, well, I don't know. We talk about the tax gap, and we note that 85% of all taxpayers file on time, pay on time, and are in compliance, all the time. And so 85%, why is that? Is it because Americans are good people? Well, we are good people, and that's true. But I don't think that's why we comply as well as we do. One of the reasons why we comply is because we're afraid of the IRS. And people are frightened of the IRS because the IRS wants us to be frightened of the IRS. And so they put every year they put these cases out there of prominent individuals who are having tax trouble to show you that they have tax troubles, and the IRS goes after them. You have tax troubles, the IRS will go after you too. And there's no doubt about it. And that's what happens. And the IRS, now we could talk about the IRS, and the IRS, now that Congress, the Biden Build Back Better plan, talks about doubling the size of the IRS, nearly doubling the size of the IRS, adding 87,000 new employees. 87,000. And many senators, congressmen are against this. Some senators have really been coming out and putting some and making some statements about it. Let's play. Do we go to the IRS? Should we go to the lawsuit first? Let's talk about. Let's do that first. Let's do Chris Rock or Chris. I'm laughing because Chris Tucker he's not Chris Rock. Okay, so that's why I got it. That's why I said it, because I just saw this video that said people call him Chris Rock. It's Chris Tucker. We know who Chris Tucker is. He's a star. He's and he. So let's see if we can't talk about this. Chris Tucker. Chris Tucker. Uh-oh. So let's try it again. There it is. Chris Tucker is facing IRS lawsuit, says Chris Tucker neglected to pay $9.6 million in taxes. And all of us will agree. If you owe $9 million in taxes, you should pay your taxes. But that, and so they make it sound like here that, Chris Tucker was not paying his taxes. But he has, and let's read this article because I think it's interesting. Chris Tucker's nearly 20-year tax dispute, 20-year tax dispute, 20 years. I have a lot of clients who've been dealing with the IRS for 20 years. And actually, the average, I think, is 7 years or longer. Because most people fight with the IRS for many years before they decide to hire someone to help them. Since they look at it, hey, the IRS is a government agency. I'm a taxpayer. They should try to help me. I'm having this trouble, and they should try to help me. But they don't try to help you. They fight you. They have the power and the resources to come after you. And when you push back, they push back harder. And so it's many years usually before someone decides, you know what, I ought to get some help on this. And that's what they do. Now, I forgot my intro, but that's because I'm so involved in this case. But so the IRS has filed a lawsuit against Rush Hour star in federal court. So another federal court case, as we talked about Charlie Sheen. They brought him to federal court, and they are pursuing him in federal court. So not just trying to collect, but trying to bring an action against him. Saying he neglected to pay $9.6 million in taxes, penalties, and interest, according to court documents obtained by the RAP. The 16-page lawsuit was filed in Nevada, where Tucker lives, and says he owes taxes on incoming debt on income dating back to 2002, when he was one of the biggest stars in Hollywood. The suit additionally says Tucker owes back taxes for 6, 8, and 10. The document notes that the actors entered into various installment agreements with the government, but the balance was never paid off. At one point, IRS personnel discussed a $25,000 a month installment plan with Tucker's reps. However, the government ultimately rejected the offer because the tax bill would not be paid off before the 10-year collection statute expiration date. We talk a lot about that. That's how you have to really build your strategy. The lawsuit includes a table listing Tucker's tax bill as $4,614,070 for 2010, and I go on to totaling $9 million, $9.6 million. Despite notice and demand for payment of the assessments set forth above, Mr. Tucker has neglected, refused, or failed to fully pay the assessments against him. The IRS also alleges that Tucker filed multiple tax returns in an untimely manner, with some coming in years late. Another common thing for people who owe taxes. Because they're afraid of the IRS, they fail to file because they think that it would buy them time. It does not buy you time. It's the wrong thing to do, but many people do it. The actor reached a previous settlement with the IRS in 2014 after a federal tax collector filed a $2.5 million lien. The government is now asking the court to issue a just and proper judgment against Tucker. Reps for the actor did not immediately respond. So why wouldn't they respond? Of course they didn't respond. This is private, personal stuff. People don't like to respond to it, and I can't say as I blame them. And so this gets very complicated. Okay, so there we go. So now what I want to do is I want to play this video with Grassley talking about doubling the size of the IRS, or nearly doubling the size of the IRS. So let's begin. We'll see it up here. And he was there for it. Absolutely true. And this is what the problem is. Which they are being attacked. And this are my clients. 2021. 50%. For now. Yes. I did my small part. I hope you did too. Because that's who they harass. I'm glad he didn't call them the wealthy. Absolutely. 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 That's what I would say. You're presumed guilty. Yes. And they often said $1 trillion. Absolutely. Absolutely. Especially 1099 employees now. The gig economy. Well, I have to say, I think that I think it's the most feared. I don't deal with the EPA, so maybe I should fear the EPA also, and maybe I should. But but again, most of us, not all of us, have to deal with the EPA, but all of us have to deal with the IRS, right? We all have to file our tax returns, and it all comes down to that. So I commend Senator Grassley and all those who had. There's many of these videos I can put up. Maybe I'll do it over the next couple of days. I'll put some more of these video senators talking about the IRS and the size of the IRS. But okay, I just want to go through some of these others. So this is the IRS. New Jersey man sentenced to 12 years in prison for promoting tax fraud scheme. So again, you're going to see a lot of these stories now about people going to prison, and that rightfully so, many of them. But they want you to know, hey, we're looking at you. We're coming after you. And it's not the fact that people will then comply and do the right thing. My fear, and this is what happens with people, they overcomply, right? They overpay their taxes because they fear the government and they know what the government can do to them. And so rather than taking deductions that they're rightfully entitled to, they do not take those deductions and they overpay the government. And that's their prerogative, I suppose, but it's really out of fear. And it's just not fair. Next story. Americans overwhelmingly oppose plan to hire IRS agents to audit Americans. Of course they object to this. What free people would not only go ahead and invent the IRS, but then after all of the abuses that we have and all the problems that we have with the IRS, recently they disclosed a bunch of tax returns that which oppose the law. We remember Lois Lerner and that whole scandal, and many other scandals, and all the problems why they came up with the offer and compromise and all of these programs in the 90s because of the abuses of the IRS. And now the public is supposed to want to double the size. Just doesn't make any sense. And here's another story. IRS record tax collection. And for the first 2 months fiscal year, I think October, November is the first 2 months of the fiscal year, and October, November, and the IRS has collected record taxes. Is that going to stop anything? Is that enough money for the IRS? The answer is no. It's not enough money for the IRS. Here's another story. Senate Build Back Better Act omits IRS reporting provision. This is what Grassley was just talking about. So now the House bill and now the Senate bill does not have this in. That's very good, and we should all celebrate that. But it's not enough. We shouldn't allow them also to double the size of the IRS, in my opinion. The IRS can collect. They will collect. People pay. People are honest. It is true that sometimes small business people make mistakes, and people are scared to death to make an error because of the problems that it causes. It's not right. You shouldn't be afraid to open up your own business because you're afraid of the IRS. It is the American way to start your own business, run your own business, and try to comply. They put so many roadblocks in front of you. It's very difficult, and it gets harder every year. We should make it easier for people to start their own business. As Senator Grassley said, it is the backbone of our economy, and we shouldn't forget that. And we shouldn't put more roadblocks up to stop that. We should encourage people. Start your own business. Be your own boss. Do your own thing. And as he pointed out, the gig economy is help making people do that, and we should encourage that, as I said. So as Chris Tucker is fighting the IRS, if you're fighting the IRS, you got to know where to start, right? Where do you start? Well, you start with, let's figure out where you start. You start with a copy of my book, if I can get it up. For some reason it's not coming up. Well, you start with a copy of my book, Deal with Your IRS Problems Today. Why is that on there? I don't know. I'm trying to stop. Well, whatever. Remember, get a copy of my book, Deal with Your IRS Problems Today. Go to freeirsbook.com, freeirsbook.com. We're going to ask you to share and subscribe. Share and subscribe to this channel. We help people with taxes. We provide you with tax information every day. Nobody else does that. And remember, all the news centers around your taxes, how they get that money and how they spend that money. And you should be involved in it each and every day. And that's what we encourage you to do. So we help you do that. And remember to join us again tomorrow for today's Tax Talk. Thank you. See if we can get this on. And it isn't.